what's going on YouTube? It's Will, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you all are ready for today's video, because I feel pretty good about today's video. We're gonna be talking about a pretty interesting topic, something that we're all very used to. Well, actually, let me not say we're used to it. You'll see what I'm talking about in a little bit. But if you haven't already, go ahead and check out the other videos that I have from the 7. We've been talking about a lot of really interesting stuff, a lot of stuff that I've been just thinking about and had just on my mind since the time of me studying to now. And today's video is a video that I really hope you all can relate to in some way, shape, or form, because it's a really important topic that is something that we've all encountered, but we might not look at it from the lens that I've been able to look at things from my time studying. And the thing that I want to talk about today is change. I've been wanting to talk about change for a while now, because really I've made the biggest change to my life that I've ever made. And I think it's just a good way to kind of encompass all of the things that I've talked about so far, because all of those things that I've experienced and that I've spoken about in my other videos involve me changing. Now, the thing about change is that sometimes change is not fun. Change can be very uncomfortable. Change can be very unexpected. But change can also breed a whole new set of ideas and realities that we've never thought would be possible. And this change can happen at the drop of a dime. I actually kind of want to incorporate some of the story time stuff that I used to do, because I feel like it's going to be a good example to illustrate what I want to talk about. So I think one of the best examples I can think of that I've experienced in my life, not something that's been super recent, but some of the things that kind of spurred on the rest of the stuff that I've been involved in, is me leaving high school. Now, if you haven't seen any of my videos previously for story time, I pretty much was going from the beginning of freshman year all the way through to my life right now. But at the time, I was really just focused on what happened during high school. Now, I feel like it would be better if I would include elements of that instead of just focusing on one particular moment in high school, because I feel like it's so much to talk about. So I'm gonna use this example because I feel like it really illustrates how things worked for me. So when I left high school, there were a couple things on my mind. I was curious about where I was gonna go to college, because that was always my goal. Was like, hey, I need to go to school. Like, I can't see myself doing anything else. I was thinking about if I wanted to like date and have like relationships and stuff like that. I was thinking about a lot of those things. I was thinking about if I wanted to go to school with my friends, or if I wanted to go to school by myself. Did I want to stay local? Did I want to go to another city? It was a lot. It was a lot. And if you've applied to college, or if you've thought about going to school, I'm sure you can relate to this. So at the time, I was thinking about going to this school called SIUE. So it's Southern Illinois University. It's two versions. It's Edwardsville and it's Carbondale. And a lot of the people that I knew that were going to be going to college were attempting to go to SIUE. So it was like, oh, look at that. We all can go to the same school together. We can all be friends and all that stuff. Yeah, that was a terrible idea. But things didn't really work out the way that I thought they were. So I was so ready to get into college. I had so many things that I was ready to start trying to do, and I was just getting through the process of getting things done that I need to get done during the summer, and I found out that I needed to pay for a housing deposit. The housing deposit was like $300-$400, I think, and at the time I had no money. At the time, my mom and my stepdad, they weren't really the most financially stable, so I wasn't actually able to go. And I didn't know about the housing deposit, or I didn't remember Like it was something like that. It was just so many things going on, and I was so excited, but I was like also really nervous because I was like, man, like, am I gonna be able to go, and am I gonna be with my friends? And it was so much stuff on my mind. That was the last thing I was thinking about. So instead of me being able to do my due diligence or asking questions, it was like I was just gonna go into it and get the stuff done that I needed to do, that I knew of. But all that is to be said, whereas that I didn't go. And I was really upset because I couldn't see myself doing anything else. I couldn't see myself working. I couldn't see myself going to the military. I couldn't see myself going to even community college, because this is me and my ignorance. I looked down on community college because I thought, oh, if you're not going away from your house, then you aren't really doing what you need to be doing. It was a really ignorant way that I looked at things, but things didn't work the way that I wanted them to, and I was forced to have to make a decision. Was I gonna sit the crib and cry and complain? And this is a time period where there was a lot of stuff going on. I had a lot of internal issues at the house. There were a lot of changes going on. There were a lot of good things going on. I met a very important person in my life during that summer, but a lot of the stuff that I dealt with in the summer was very difficult for me to really think about. And then on top of that, I didn't get the opportunity to go to school like I wanted to. So it was a really trying time for me in my patience and my sanity, really. I remember sitting up late at night, and at the time I didn't have a room. At the time I didn't have anywhere comfortable to sleep. And I was just really upset. And I was just like, man, like, why is all this happening? What am I gonna do? I was so physically and mentally uncomfortable. It was literally one of the saddest moments in my life, being at the crib and having to deal with all that stuff. But I knew that college was something that I wanted to go to, and I felt like it had no other alternative. It's a fabulous line that I've heard from him, and I'm pretty sure this has been restated before, but I can only remember it from Fabulous. But he was like, my plan B is another way to make my plan A work. And that's been one of those lines that have always stuck with me, because I always felt that I needed to do something to get things back on track for what I wanted. So even though I didn't go to school, I had the perseverance inside of me to keep going. So instead of going to school, I ended up working at like a movie theater here in the city, and it was terrible. I ended up working smaller jobs as well. I was actually a basketball coach for a while, like for maybe like that was the next summer. Yeah, I think it was either the next summer or like it was during the fall. I was like a basketball coach. I was like working at Chipotle for like 2 weeks. It didn't work that well. But I was doing a lot of different stuff to just make ends meet. I even tried to go to community college and it didn't work. But I tried so many things because I wanted to I wanted to go to school, and it didn't happen. And I kept fighting. I kept working, and I ended up getting the chance to go in the spring of 2017. And it's funny because that didn't even work out the way that I wanted it to. But the fact is that my whole entire plan derailed, and I didn't know what to do. But I knew that it was something that was going to change my trajectory. But the thing about experience is that it teaches us things, and we get character from those experiences. Me not going to school allowed me to make things a lot more serious in my head, because I was so bent on going, everything became urgent to me. I was willing to do almost anything within reason to get to my goal. And doing so was so big for me because it allowed me to do a lot on my own, but it also kept me away from a lot of things as well. I didn't go to school with my friends at the time, and it would have happened if it was supposed to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad I didn't go to school with them, because who knows who I would have been, and who knows what I would have experienced and done had I went with all of those people. Like, there are so many things that I've experienced in my life that caused me to change the way that I did things. But fast forwarding to now, studying the Bible was a change in itself, because I was in a really interesting place, and I say this a lot, but at the time when I was thinking about studying the Bible and just learning about it, it was just like I didn't know what else to do. There were so many things that I had on my mind. There were so many things that I was struggling with, and I didn't know what to do to fix my situation. And being reached out and deciding to study the Bible was a huge change for me, because it made me commit. It made me commit to something that I knew was greater than me. And this commitment allowed me, and it enabled me to change so much, because I was willing. I was open. I was open to change, because change was the only option for me. I was able to learn so much about God's character. I was able to learn so much about what it meant to be a disciple. I learned so much about how my life was orchestrated, in a sense, to play that way out, because I needed to experience those things so that I could be the person that I was at that time, and so that I can be the person I am today. Me changing and being willing to relearn, to adjust so many different aspects of my life was huge. And that's not to say that those things didn't come with loss. You know, I've lost a lot, but I've gained so much more, all because I was willing to change. And throughout that process, and even now, I just think about all the stuff that I would be okay doing and all the things that I'm not okay doing because of this. And I think one of the biggest things for me that was a result of this change was just my openness to everything, really. There are people that I've spoken to in the last 3 months that I thought that I would never either speak to again, or that I would never hear from. I've had opportunities to meet with a lot of different people. I've had opportunities to share with a lot of different people. I've had opportunities in general, all because I was willing to change the way that I saw life. I changed the way that I saw life, not through my own lens, but through the lens that God's provided for us, that God's provided for me. And this was super big, because the way that I was doing things is not working. Just being real. The ways that I was doing things was not working. And I needed something outside of myself to change the way that my life was going. And from personal experience, humans were not the answer, because there were so many different alternatives. There were so many different ways that people would tell me how to do things. And even if I did or didn't do it, I never felt comfortable. I never felt like it was going to actually work out for me based off of what someone else told me, because they weren't living my life. They weren't experiencing and dealing with the things that I was dealing with. And it took me to actually abide by God's plan for me to really see these things for myself, but for me to also reap the rewards that He sowed for us through His word, which is huge, because I never really even thought about that. I never really even thought about, man, like if I just listen to God, what would happen? A lot has happened, a lot. And like I said, it's the same way. I've experienced a lot of loss, but I've experienced so much more to gain from. And one of the things that I appreciate the most about following God's plan is that I don't question a lot anymore, but I also have a unwavering peace in things. Like, have y'all ever like did something and you weren't sure if it was gonna work, but you had peace in the fact that if it did or didn't work, that you were gonna be fine? If you haven't had that, I really hope that you get the opportunity to, because it is a feeling that can never be replaced. I've experienced, like I say, a lot of loss, but I've gained so much, and I have peace in both of those situations. And it's one of those things that you just can't trade, but that peace is only found in Jesus. That's the only peace that I've ever found that was that widespread, because it applies to everything. In one of the previous videos, I spoke about how I had a really rough month at the beginning of my school semester, and I was just like really sick. I missed a lot of class. I was really on the downside of life in that regard, but I had peace because I knew that God was going to look out for me, and I know that I just needed to continue on praying. I knew I needed to continue on relying on the people that I've had in my corner, and I just need to have faith, and I have, and I always do, and it's been wonderful because I've been able to get through so much because of that. But when I have my victories, when I get to enjoy things, and I get to actually be happy about a situation, I'm happy because I know that God had allowed it for me to experience those things so that I could persevere and that I could have that faith in Him. And now when I have this reward, it allows me to enjoy it because I'm like, man, like I know that God put this here for me. God gave me this position. God gave me these funds in my bank account because you know how that bank account be looking when you kind of sad. You like, oh man, like I don't really know what I'm gonna do. Like we all been there. So it gives you a different level of appreciation. You feel me? But I digress. There are so many things that I have been able to gain because I was willing to change the way that I looked at life. And I changed the way that I was willing to approach life. And the sooner that I was willing to do that, the sooner I was willing to submit, the faster it caught on for me. And it's helped me tremendously. And there's so much more that I feel like I could speak about this because it's just so much. Change is one of the things that's ongoing. It never stops. It never settles, and it continues to happen in my life. But I look forward to change because it allows me to grow as a person, it allows me to grow as a disciple, and I get to share these experiences with you all. Because you never know who's listening, you never know who's going to be able to relate to your story. So I'm happy that I've been able to do this. So I kind of just wanted to share that with you all. I feel like there's a second part to this, honestly. I feel like I haven't really even fully touched on this situation or this topic. I'm not even call it a situation because it's not a situation. But hopefully you all enjoyed the video. Hope you all enjoyed me dying on Apex a lot because that's been happening a lot too. But yeah, make sure you all like and subscribe to the channel. If you got any feedback or comments that you want to let me know of, go ahead and drop it down below. Hopefully we'll have a second part to the channel, to this video. I think it deserves it, honestly. But besides that though, I hope you all enjoy. I'll catch y'all in next week's video. I'm gone.